What up guys, Miguel here of YugaTech. So we've seen how the Redmi K20 Pro fares against the likes of its cousins, but I can't help but wonder how it stacks up against one of the top smartphones released this year, the Samsung Galaxy S10. Starting off with design. The Redmi K20 Pro sports a 3D curved glass back which makes it quite comfortable to hold. The Galaxy S10 on the other hand also sports a curved glass back, but not only that, its glass back is protected with Gorilla Glass 5. Our unit of the K20 Pro is in its flame red color option and it does look fire! Our Galaxy S10 on the other hand is in the prism white color, which I like very much. In terms of design language, the K20 Pro looks a little bit more wild while the S10 keeps it clean and simple. Without any cases on, I immediately noticed that the S10 felt thinner, leaving a sleeker impression in mind. I do want to mention that the K20 Pro is only 4.1mm thicker, so take that earlier note with a grain of salt. Moving on, at the back of both devices you can find the rear camera modules. The K20 Pro's module is placed in the center of the back stacked vertically, with the holographic extended telephoto lens above it. The Galaxy S10 also gets a triple camera setup. It's found on the top center, horizontally stacked, providing no wobble at all when laid flat on a surface. In front, you get a true all-screen display on the K20 Pro thanks to that pop-up selfie camera that doubles as a notification light. The Galaxy S10 gets the punch hole treatment found on the upper right, and it's honestly turned into one of the most defining design traits of the device, thanks to a majority of users embracing the cutout. For buttons and ports, on the right side you can find both devices' power button and volume rocker for the K20 Pro. Up top, you can find the K20 Pro's 3.5mm audio jack, noise-cancelling mic for speakerphone, and the before-mentioned pop-up selfie camera. For the S10, you can find the hybrid dual SIM card tray and a noise-cancelling mic for speakerphone up here. On the left side, you can find the Galaxy S10's volume rocker as well as a dedicated Bixby button, which you can kinda remap. Nothing here for the Redmi K20 Pro. At the bottom, exclusive to the K20 Pro, you can find the dual SIM card tray and single downward firing speaker. For the S10, you can find the 3.5mm audio jack here as well as one of the stereo speakers that handles the lows. You can find both devices' noise-cancelling mic for regular calls and USB Type-C port here as well. Okay, so for design, I must admit that the K20 Pro is quite the head-turner with its fiery back, true all-screen display, and light-up pop-up selfie camera. But when I have the S10 in my other hand, it feels like saying less is more, if you catch my drift. So yeah, I'm giving this one to the Galaxy S10. Do keep in mind that design is subjective after all. Now moving on to display. The K20 Pro gets a 6.39-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED panel, and the S10 utilizes a 6.1-inch WQHD Plus Dynamic AMOLED one. Both displays also have Corning Gorilla Glass protection on board. The K20 Pro uses Gorilla Glass 5 while the S10 utilizes Gorilla Glass 6. Which means both displays are equivalent in scratch resistance, but the S10 can handle more drops from greater heights. When it comes to media consumption, they both look really good, but the S10's panel is just a little bit more. I mean, it is a Samsung device after all, and they do make the best panels for their devices at the end of the day. But then, we should all know by now that display is only half the story. When it comes to media consumption, the sound coming from the device is just as important. And well, I'm pretty sure some of you guys already know it's gonna be the S10 in this subcategory as well. You get a single downward firing speaker on the K20 Pro, and it truly does not compare to having a stereo experience on the S10. Although I do want to mention that the K20 Pro's single speaker does produce a pretty good quality audio experience for what it is. Separation is very excellent, but the lows do lack in comparison to the S10. It is good to know that both devices come with a headphone jack, so if you really want to immerse yourself, you can totally use that too. So yeah, for display, I'm gonna have to give it to the Galaxy S10. Moving on to performance. For hardware, the K20 Pro is equipped with the latest Qualcomm Snapdragon 855 7nm chipset and an Adreno 640 GPU. The K20 Pro gets a handful of RAM and storage configurations. You can get a 6GB of RAM plus 64 or 128GB of internal storage, or 8GB of RAM plus 128 or 256GB of internal storage. Our Galaxy S10 uses the Exynos 9820 8nm chipset and a Mali G76 MP12 GPU. Locally, you get 8GB of RAM plus 128GB of internal storage, plus expandable storage of up to 512GB. For software, you get Android 9 Pie out of the box for both devices and MIUI 10 skinned on top for the K20 Pro and One UI for the S10. Now, I've made it pretty clear in previous videos that One UI is my favorite Android skin now for its minimalistic design and well thought out approach to its interface. With One UI, the moment I jumped into it, I never found myself lost, and I can't really say the same for MIUI UI. Although I am a fan of the interface's design and simplicity as well. When it comes to navigating through the interface, both devices handled everything as they should, from jumping between a bunch of opened apps to zooming in and out on a browser to even gaming. These phones are pretty much beasts. If you guys were interested in some benchmark scores, I'll have them flash on screen now. When it comes to battery, powering the Redmi K20 Pro is a 4000 mAh cell that utilizes Qualcomm's Quick Charge 4 Plus for charging. The Galaxy S10 on the other hand packs an okay 3400 mAh battery, and you also get 15-watt fast charging, support for wireless charging as well as reverse wireless charging. Quick Charge 4 Plus is Qualcomm's 27-watt charging standard. Sadly, a 27-watt charging adapter is not included in the box of the K20 Pro. In our standard video loop test, the K20 Pro yielded 27 hours and 36 minutes, while the S10 got us a respectable 16 hours. Now, that isn't surprising considering the smaller battery capacity. I guess I don't really notice as well because I usually have a power bank with me. When it comes to biometrics, the K20 Pro comes with Face Unlock through a software update, and I guess it's alright. What's weird about it is you have to first swipe up so the pop-up camera activates, which can make the whole unlocking experience slower. I mean, it's already slower than the usual Face Unlock on devices because the front-facing camera has to pop up. Now we have to first swipe up on the display? Come on, Redmi, this ain't amateur hour. The S10's optical facial recognition works really snappy, but as seen on Unbox Therapy, it is very possible of tricking this form of security, especially if you're someone who has your face out there a lot. At the end of the day though, it's fine, because both devices get an in-display fingerprint scanner. The K20 Pros is of the optical variety, making it less secure compared to the ultrasonic one found on the S10. One thing it's got going is, it is faster than the S10 scanner. So yeah, for overall performance, I'm giving it to the Redmi K20 Pro for having better scores and a battery that can subjectively last you up to 2 days. Lastly, let's take a look at the cameras. Starting with the rear, the Redmi K20 Pro gets a triple camera setup composed of a 48 megapixel main shooter, an 8 megapixel telephoto, and a 13 megapixel ultra-wide. The Galaxy S10 on the other hand also gets the triple camera treatment that consists of a 12 megapixel main shooter, a 12 megapixel telephoto, and a 16 megapixel ultra-wide. On the front-facing side of things, you get a 20 megapixel selfie shooter for the K20 Pro, the S10 gets a 10 megapixel shooter. Alright, before we check out them samples, quick disclaimer, the K20 Pro samples are at a different aspect ratio, are bad. Now in this first photo, both shots look great in my opinion. I also think that dynamic range is superb on both of them. The K20 Pro does have darker shadows compared to the S10, but I know that the S10 does tend to pull its shadows up in post-processing. Either way, I really do think both devices did a good job here. In this shot, at first glance, I found the K20 Pro's photo more appealing, and this is thanks to an up in contrast in post-processing. For the S10, it did provide a sharper image. In this shot of AJ, with the S10, you can immediately notice the up in saturation and sharpening here. Overall, I do like the S10's shot more here though. It's got the K20 Pro beat in dynamic range, and because of that, there appears to be a haze of light coming from the window in the background. And same thing for this shot. Checking out ultra-wide real quick, as you can see, you get a wider field of view on the S10 and dynamic range is still on point. I wish I could say the same for the K20 Pro, but it seems to have overexposed the clouds on the top left. This is the case here as well. I do want to add that because of the difference in color reproduction, you get a more dramatic vibe with the K20 Pro, which you can achieve with the S10 by editing the photo of course, so yeah. Okay, so let's delve into night mode. This is what the shot looks like in the default photo mode, and sorry, it just kind of looks like a movie still, and the K20 Pro's shot looks like a camcorder copy, so yeah, whatever. My humor's dumb. This is what it looks like with night mode on. I mean, the K20 Pro did its best, but its shot just looks way more smudgy compared to the S10's sharp, clear, and bright image. Not to mention, dynamic range is on point! For portrait mode, we have Ira here ready to steal your lunch money. Both shots actually look really good for me. If you zoom into the fork, the K20 Pro seemed to have a harder time separating it from the background. I do ultimately prefer Ira's skin tone on the S10. Here's a quick look at the selfie camera. In these photos, we can see that again, dynamic range is better on the S10. But since this is a selfie, the most important thing is, well, the subject. So it comes to a preference in skin tone. I think they both look pretty good either way. So for cameras, I think you all know I'm giving it to the Galaxy S10 for its subjectively better color reproduction, its better dynamic range, and sharper images. Not to mention, you get much better night mode and a wider field of view for the ultra-wide. Alright, we're heading into conclusion territory now. Starting with price, the most expensive variant of the Redmi K20 Pro is priced at 2,999 Chinese yuan, and that's around 22,000 pesos when converted. The Samsung Galaxy S10 is priced at 49,990 pesos at retail, so that's pretty much a 27,000 difference, and honestly, I do think you get what you pay for here. So yes, the K20 Pro gets better benchmark numbers, a better battery, and a great price. But really, none of those things matter so much to me when compared to a great user interface, amazing cameras, and the ultimate display and speaker combination for media consumption. Sorry K20 Pro, this is the big leagues. But again, that is just my opinion. Tell me what you guys think. Redmi K20 Pro or the Samsung Galaxy S10? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to smack that like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and hit that bell icon so you get notified of our future uploads. Be sure to visit YugaTech.com for the latest tech news and reviews. Again, this has been Miguel, and I'll see you in the next one.